Every time we think the Meghan Markle circus has finally quieted down, something even wilder explodes onto the scene. Just when you imagine there's no more drama left to uncover, boom, someone steps out of the shadows and throws another grenade right into the royal fire. And this time, it didn't come from a royal insider or one of those anonymous palace sources tabloids love to quote. No, this bombshell allegedly came from inside a prison cell. Yes, you heard that right, from none other than Ghislaine Maxwell herself. Yes, that Ghislaine Maxwell. The woman once chained to the ugliest corners of Jeffrey Epstein's empire, a convicted insider who knows more about the dark side of the elite world than anyone should. For months, she stayed silent behind bars. But now, rumors swirl that she's been talking. And what she supposedly said didn't just brush against Meghan Markle's name, it pointed a perfectly manicured finger right at her. According to the whispers, Maxwell didn't drop vague gossip. She allegedly claimed there exists a CV. But not the kind you send to an HR department. Oh no, this wasn't about acting credits or charity work. It was said to be something far more compromising. Something that could flip the Meghan Markle fairy tale upside down. A record of activities that, if real, looks nothing like the polished Hallmark actress turned Duchess image she's built her empire on. And that's where this messy story begins, with the mere suggestion of a hidden document that could reset everything the public thought they knew about Meghan Markle. Now, let's take a second here. What exactly is this mysterious CV? The supposed prison transcript describes it as a document lurking in the shadows, one that allegedly paints Meghan's pre-royal life in a completely different light. Not as a struggling actress, not as a lifestyle blogger, but as someone allegedly involved in adult-themed entertainment and private role-play for elite circles. The words Maxwell reportedly used were hauntingly vague, playing the adult game. And that phrase, so short, so shadowy, is the kind that sticks. It doesn't accuse directly, it doesn't even specify, but it's designed to linger in your mind. Once it's there, it's impossible to unhear. Meghan Markle has spent years packaging herself as a modern feminist, a humanitarian, a rebel duchess who turned her back on the palace system. She built her brand on empowerment, self-care, and reinvention. But the idea, even the faintest hint that there's a hidden file linking her to the darker corners of wealth, power, and secrecy? That's the kind of scandal that doesn't just trend, it rewrites narratives. And here's the chilling part: this claim didn't bubble up from a gossip magazine or a YouTube rumor mill. It's tied to an alleged leaked prison statement. That alone gives it a different kind of weight, because when whispers come from behind prison walls from a convicted insider like Ghislaine Maxwell, people don't just shrug them off. They listen, they lean in, they want more. If Maxwell's words were the spark, this next part is the fuse running straight into the heart of the fire. Because while Meghan's defenders loudly insist she had nothing to do with Epstein's world, Virginia Giuffre's legal team once hinted otherwise. Remember Virginia? The woman who courageously stood up and helped expose Prince Andrew? The same Virginia whose testimony helped the world see just how deep Epstein's circle went? Well, according to her attorney, Meghan Markle's name wasn't some random rumor in passing. They knew each other, not just through mutual friends, not just by reputation, they actually knew each other. And that's why, according to reports, Meghan's name surfaced in certain court filings not as tabloid bait, but as someone whose testimony under oath could have mattered. Virginia's lawyer believed Meghan could help confirm details about the royals, about Andrew, about who was in the room when certain things went down. And that's what changes the entire narrative. Because now, Meghan isn't being framed as the outsider or the clueless newcomer. She's being painted as someone who might have had first-hand knowledge, someone who saw enough to matter. And when an attorney includes your name in something that's serious, it's because they believe you're carrying information that could crack a case open. For Meghan, that connection to Virginia was a thread she probably hoped no one would ever tug, but once it was pulled, it started unraveling the fabric she spent years weaving. Then comes the next blow, one that's even more dangerous. According to the same alleged prison transcript, Meghan wasn't just another name floating around royal parties. She was described as a close companion of Prince Andrew. Those words might sound subtle, but in legal and PR terms, they are loaded. Acquaintance sounds harmless. Associate is neutral, but close companion, that's intentional. It suggests familiarity, access, and involvement. And in scandals like these, access means everything, because being close to Prince Andrew doesn't just mean royal proximity. It means you're close to the man who sat at the very center of Epstein's royal nightmare. The same Andrew who, years later, would face public disgrace, be stripped of duties, and disappear from royal life in shame. Now imagine Meghan Markle, not yet the Duchess, not yet married to Prince Harry, circulating in those same circles, a young, ambitious woman orbiting power, charm, and influence, someone building connections that could later propel her straight into the palace spotlight. And if these claims are true, she wasn't just around, she was close. Combine that with Ghislaine Maxwell's claim of a compromising CV, and suddenly, this isn't just gossip, it's a question of access, knowledge, and intent. What did Meghan know? What did she see? And most importantly, why has she never spoken about it? But the trouble doesn't end there, because Meghan's own track record with honesty doesn't exactly help her case. Remember the whole Finding Freedom book debacle? She told the world she had nothing to do with that biography. She let her lawyers argue she'd had zero involvement. She let the headlines paint her as the innocent target of unauthorized authors. But then, the court documents came out. Emails, notes, proof, undeniable evidence that she had indeed worked behind the scenes with the writers, giving input, editing lines, crafting her image. In short, she lied, not just to the press, but in the context of legal proceedings. So if she was willing to twist the truth when the stakes were low, what would she do when the stakes involve Epstein, Andrew, and federal investigations? Would she suddenly become honest, or would she retreat into selective memory again? And that's why Virginia's attorney's hopefulness rings hollow, because Meghan has already shown the world she's willing to bend reality when it suits her. Now imagine that same pattern, but in the middle of a global scandal. The stakes aren't just reputational anymore, they're existential. And through it all, Meghan has stayed quiet. No denials, no statements, no fiery legal action, just silence. Instead, her public feed fills with curated images, glossy product photos, soft lighting, a normal mompreneur vibe, a jam jar here, a smile there, and nothing else. But silence? Silence screams, because when a baseless smear hits a public figure, the natural reaction is to fight back immediately and loudly. Yet Meghan, nothing. That silence, to many, sounds less like calm and more like fear. Or worse, strategy. Because silence can mean one of three things: fear, guilt, or control. And in Meghan's case, people started whispering that maybe, just maybe, she was trying to outlast the storm, hoping everyone would forget. But in the world of scandal, silence doesn't kill the story, it feeds it. Here's the thing about silence: it never stays silent for long. It turns into whispers, then rumors, then headlines, and before you know it, it's a full-blown scandal echoing across every gossip column on the planet. That's exactly what happened with Meghan. Her silence didn't protect her, it betrayed her. Because when the world started connecting dots, Maxwell's prison claims, Virginia's legal statements, the mysterious CV, Meghan's refusal to respond became the loudest part of the story. And that's the irony. Ghislaine Maxwell might be a convicted insider with her reputation in ashes, but she doesn't need proof to do damage when her target is Meghan Markle. Meghan's silence gives her credibility she doesn't deserve. The world starts thinking, if it wasn't true, wouldn't Meghan say something? That's how rumors become truth, not because of evidence, but because of absence. And Ghislaine knows that game too well. Even from a prison cell, she knows how to pull strings, how to ignite chaos with just a few words. And this time, she dropped Meghan Markle's name like a match on gasoline. Now let's talk about the nightmare scenario, the one everyone in Meghan's camp dreads. What if that CV Maxwell hinted at ever surfaces? Imagine it leaking through a whistleblower, a disgruntled insider, or even worse, emerging during legal discovery in some future case. Even if it's exaggerated, even if half of it is false, the perception alone would be catastrophic, because the truth doesn't have to be proven to destroy a reputation, it just has to sound believable. If such a file ever hits the public, Meghan would be trapped. If she stays silent, people call it guilt. If she denies it, skeptics scream, spin. And if she sues to protect her name, that document, real or not, would be dragged into open court and every dark detail would be picked apart under oath. And let's be honest, courts don't play with perception. They demand receipts. They want evidence. They force the truth out inch by inch. One single document could undo years of brand building, podcasting, lifestyle, launches, everything she's tried to sculpt into perfection. Supporters can shout fabrication all they want, but these accusations aren't coming from anonymous Twitter trolls. They're coming from convicted insiders and lawyers who understand how to weaponize exposure. And that's what makes this different. That's what makes it dangerous. For Meghan, this isn't just another PR storm. It's checkmate. Because once Ghislaine Maxwell tied her name to Epstein's shadow, the story stopped being gossip and started feeling like inevitable tragedy. Now we're here at the crossroads Meghan Markle never wanted to face. Her empire, the podcasts, the lifestyle brand, the documentaries, the entire empowered Duchess narrative all look suddenly fragile, trembling under the weight of one rumor whispered from behind steel bars. Because branding is one thing. Perception? That's everything. And when people start to suspect you're hiding something, no amount of pastel packaging or carefully crafted speeches can save the illusion. Ghislaine Maxwell knew that. She didn't need to prove anything. She just needed to plant the seed and watch it grow. Now, Meghan stands in silence, knowing one leak could shatter the image she fought so hard to control. Because if that CV ever surfaces through a leak, a court filing, or a desperate whistleblower, it won't just bruise her brand, it will detonate it. And that's the cruelest twist of all. Ghislaine Maxwell, even from behind prison walls, may have found a way to destroy a duchess not with evidence, but with suggestion, not with proof, but with words. Because in the end, the truth doesn't always need to be real to be ruinous. It just needs to be believed. And as of now, the world is listening.